Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Fasting Space. So nice to have you here. I hope you are doing well today. How was your weekend? Welcome to a new week. We are starting out the week together. Center ourselves with some great thinking. Try to take the first step forward, Take the first step forward. Make this a great week. We're going to crush it. Gonna dial in today, building some weight loss skills. This is the mindset we want to get into. I talk about fasting as a practice, something we just work at. Any skill, you work at it. You are not a master at something when you start out. I like to use the analogy of violin because, you sit down, you try to play the violin. Not going to sound so good when you start out, right? You work at it, you build it into something beautiful. A violin, you say, it's like a lifelong pursuit to be a musician, right? Of anything, and then a violin. Grow the practice, build it into something beautiful. That's what I want to do here on this channel together. That's what I want to help people experience with a fasting practice and a health practice. Treat it like a skill. A skill is something that you invest in, You have to put yourself into a skill in order to see the benefit from it. Like a skill doesn't just happen, So fasting as a process, you decide not to eat. Okay, it does happen. So you make the decision, I fasted, it happens, right? The fasting happens by doing nothing. Such a beautiful process. But then the skill of it is the skill of doing nothing. Building the mental framework and process to help you do nothing in as comfortable, gentle, thoughtful a fashion as possible. Pass the time in a beautiful space. That's the goal. Listen to how they describe it here in this book I've been sharing insights from. The Mountain is You. This book is about overcoming self-sabotage, turning self-sabotage into self-mastery. Look what they call this chapter. There's no such thing as self-sabotage. I love that. Here's what they say. When you habituate yourself to do things that move your life forward, you call them skills. All right, so we're dialed in on that, right? We want to build weight loss skills, and we can see it. Okay, habits that we have, skills that we're developing, things moving us forward, we call it skills. Listen to the other side. When they hold your life back, we call it self-sabotage. They're both essentially the same function. When we're doing things that are moving us backwards, we call it self-sabotage. We do things that move us forward, we call it a skill. That's why I say let's focus on the skill. This is such a nice way to look at it. Think of that, it's just basically the same thing. And I think this is helping us to get out of places of judgment, Help us, everything about this book, right, is about trying to break cycles. Help us change our thinking, get out of mindsets that have limited us. Put us into mindsets and spaces just moving forward, right? The side of this that is moving us forward is the skill. So I think the sessions we've done, look toward the light, lifting ourselves up. One way to break these cycles, say, oh, these things, we just have things that are serving us, things are not serving us. Let's just look here analytically, say, a thing is not serving me. We could call that self-sabotage. A thing is serving me. Call that a skill. Let's dial in on the skills. Do a little life analysis. That's the journal, right? What's flowing out of your journal these days? Where are the struggles? Where are the points? And where are the highlights? Where is the energy flowing? Where is the good thinking flowing? And what are the skills that are really moving you forward? And what are the skills that you would really like to develop and lean into? Those are the things that we want to build. The things I talk about, really 4 things, right? A skill like the mental health, wellness skill. Maybe you call that the foundational layer. The practices that help keep the thinking positive, that are identifying negative thinking and blasting it, getting rid of it. I spent my weekend, I got out in the country, thankfully, out in the country at my folks' place. So let's see if I can show you. Here's some footage. This wasn't this weekend. I filmed this, a couple months ago, where I was doing this fire out in the woods. And if you just look back in the woods there, if you look at the trees, do you see how it's all filled in? Hard to see in the winter maybe without the leaves. Not a lot of space. So much buckthorn and invasive plants in there. So one of the things we do, where this brush pile came from, just about to light up here. We just cut down all this buckthorn and nasty stuff to open up the woods, let it breathe so you can walk through it unencumbered, So I was thinking of this sort of metaphor this weekend, right? Burning through the things that aren't serving us, identifying the core things, like these core trees that we really like, and then what are the parts in there that we don't really like, the buckthorn, the nasty stuff that we want to clear out. So from this sort of framework, skills we want to build, think negative skills that we're not even liking. Those are the things. Throw them on the fire, clear them out, clean it up. Pat is here. Good morning. Hey, hello. How are you today? Hope you are so well. So that felt so good. Get out in the country, clearing through this stuff, burning it up, getting rid of it, opening up space so the forest can flourish. This is the sort of skill that we want to be building in our life. So many things pop up, right? Life's so busy. So many things happening in life. Does life ever feel like it? It's like one thing gets done, we kind of resolve an issue, the next one pops up, That's like buckthorn in a forest that's been taken over. You got to be diligent at knocking those things out, get rid of them, and then the fire pretty good for doing it because it'll burn up all the seeds. Sometimes you can feel like that in life. You have one problem, buckthorn, and then you try to cut it down and it'll just rain down all its seeds, and then you see, well, there's 20 more coming, Try to burn all that stuff up. Okay, so that was the first passage, identifying skills we like, self-sabotage we don't. We can see they're really 2 sides of the same coin. And we're going to be really thoughtful. Lean in on the positive side. Build the skill. Help to diminish the anti-skill. We call it an anti-skill. A skill that's moving us in the wrong direction. Do you think I'm really skilled at walking in the wrong direction? Do you ever feel that way? Sometimes we practice things so long we get stuck to them. And so we say we want to get unstuck. Listen to this section, what they say. When you have a big ongoing issue in life, especially one where the solution seems like it should be simple, yet you're stuck, okay? What you have is not a big problem, but a big attachment. I thought that was really interesting to dive into. Do you think it's true? Do you think it's true? Can you find that kind of mental space? Like, is there an attachment here? See, we get stuck in cycles, partially because we like them, right? Because they serve us in some fashion. They're doing something good for us. At least they did something good for us. Otherwise, we wouldn't have done it, right? Most of the time, like in every given day, we say, like, I have free will. I'm not stuck in something. We choose to do the things we do, not because we want to walk in a wrong direction, but because it's doing something good for us, right? But then we have our awareness. We're trying to go in a direction. Hey, this is not serving me anymore. This is not feeling like a skill. This is feeling like something I'm stuck in. Are we attached to it, though? Are we attached to what it does for us? That's how we try to untie it. Got to give space to do that, you know? Space to get unstuck. Space to get rid of things that aren't serving us. Like we're in the woods. We're having a fire. We're trying to burn up all the dead stuff that is blocking the path. Trying to clear out invasive things that are choking the life out of all the healthy natural trees. Cut those things down. Give some space to the stuff. Felt so good being out in the country this weekend. Just get into some open space, breathe some fresh air, especially have a fire. It wasn't this fire, but the fire we had was about this size. And, it's cold out, but you get a fire going like this. And, for a good 20, 30 feet around this, it just feels so warm out. I feel like, man, it's like spring, but you get a little further from the fire, and then it's like, oh, it is, got to put the hat back on. A lot of times in life in general, certainly you go into a health space, a weight loss space, we always think so much to do, and we think always the skill is the doing, right? Fasting giving us kind of an inverse pattern. When we think about letting go of things, fasting the opposite. It's like we're trying to just let go of stuff. You got to let go of things to open up space for something better. Let go of all this other stuff in the forest that's cluttering everything up to open up space for something better. Hard to let go of things. Our culture is always like this. It's like grab, Like grab some more stuff. Do some more things. Crank up the intensity. Sometimes the path forward is releasing it. So we see in this reading saying, okay, if we're having trouble moving forward, you got to look for something that we're having trouble letting go of. Some habit or pattern, some anti-skill, right? Something we're really used to that is a habit that we like to some degree, but then we say in order to move forward, say we want to let go of that. Letting go in and of itself, that's a skill. Right? Sometimes we don't have a lot of practice of that, I say, in this culture. We're not really a culture, doesn't like to let go of things, but we've talked a lot on the channel. Different experiences that people have had letting go of things. In this context, in a health context, I always like to say, don't think of doing more. Think of doing less, but in a really thoughtful, open fashion. Whether it's doing more, whether it's practicing a skill like getting out to the gym, such a good thing to do. You want to stay strong, absolutely. Combination of exercise with fasting, though, just the best health practice. The fasting is what is opening up the space for the body to use the energy that we don't want. Exercise is like supercharging that process in that space. The energy's got to come from somewhere. If it's not coming from the food, where is it coming from? From the reserves. And then, even the best part, sending the message to the body. This muscle's important. Look, we are using this. You got to protect this. You got to build this up. This is how we stay strong. We're going to go for our double bonus. Lean and strong. That's the ideal spot. Lean and strong. Leaner and stronger. That is the direction we want to go. All right, there's our big fire we burned through. All right, so we want to go in one of those directions, either practicing a skill that is a thing we do, getting in the routine that serves us. I go to the store on these days, and it's this store, and I buy these types of things, the most healthy, nourishing, life-giving foods. Like, this is something you got to do. Or it's a skill of not doing, opening up the fasting space, right? These are the types of things that are really moving us forward, where we're stepping out from a pattern that isn't serving us anymore. We're leaving that zone, going in another direction. We feel resistance to that. You want to try to build a really powerful skill. For whatever reason, the way this existence is, we feel resistance to that. We don't feel resistance to staying the same. We feel resistance to the change. So how do we break through that? We're stuck in a place. We're in some sort of plateau. We said last week, don't fear a plateau. Plateau is actually an incredible space, actually. It means like you're pushing right into kind of your ceiling, actually. Look at it that way. Maybe think, okay, I'm on this past process of growth, of upgrading, right? We're doing the upgrade, and it's like hitting in this place. We're like right at this ceiling, right? Look at that, like the cocoon. Caterpillars going in there. You can't see anything happening. You see, this graph is like a flat line for a while. We're gonna break out of that. But there's resistance to it. See, that's what you experience, right? You're in a place, you say, I could feel stuck. We call it a cocoon. We call it this protected space where we're turning up the room temperature. Think of all these great analogies we've had. Turning up the temperature in the room while we're sitting in that space. Lots of things are happening around it, because if you're sitting in that space, it's like we're not going backwards here. We've gotten to a very interesting place. We're going to unlock this space. And then from that, part of the psychology of the plateau is this decision point, right? It's figuring out the process, the way of being that actually moves you forward out of it. You got to unlock it, got to work through it. And this is what we're doing, like a locksmith with their little tools and picks and whatever they're doing. Figure it out. How do we unlock it? We got our toolkit. Build out the mental health practices, the food practices, the exercise practices, the fasting practice that we said the other day. Doesn't have to be a set it and forget it. Can pull back on it if it's feeling like you need it. Can lean into it. Absolutely the type of thing that you can do. This is exactly the type of thing you want to look at. Been focusing on what and when I eat, and then the plateau, a signal to add some exercise in. Yeah, just like you feel like, see, the subconscious is always working, right? Subconscious is our conscious. It's just a different side of it. Always working the problem. We did that, the interesting, I thought, session on dreaming, right? And how like we kind of shut off all the bigger layers of awareness. We're getting into a deep layer. That a lot of that is problem-solving space. And how do these problem-solvings that the deeper centers of our being trying to figure out? It's like we want to thrive, we want to flourish, we want to move forward. This is an intuitive space, right? They come out as feelings and intuitions or ideas. Like maybe this would be the thing, you know. And then we've got to analyze it. You know, sometimes, you know, maybe you have an idea. Who knows? It's, oh, I don't know if that's quite in alignment. You know, we've got to decide. We've got to be rational too. But these intuitions that say like, you know, I'm kind of dialing in here. I'm dialing in here. Maybe this is the signal. I need to dial in here because we want total health, right? We want total health. And, yeah, adding in more movement. Especially if you feel called to it, right? Can be so positive, so exciting, so energy giving. Here, we're going to get into this kind of idea right here. Okay, so we want to overcome the resistance. We're powering through the plateau, right? Resistance is not the same thing as procrastination or indifference. I love that. Think of that because, okay, we can be so judgy on ourselves about all of these things. As you get into a plateau, so easy to judge yourself. Say, oh, I am failing here. I'm not doing something right. This might be exactly, right? It's like exactly where you need to be. You're working the process. It's like, I don't think I like the word test, but it's like this. It is a process that can feel like that. It's like, this is testing us here. It's like, do we really want this? Like, are we going this way or are we going back? Like, what is happening here? This is a way to think about it. It's like resisting. Like, are we really ready for it? Do we really want it? And then what are the things that are really going to break us out of it? Like, to sit in a space like that, it's not procrastination. It's to see a lot of work is happening there. And it's not indifference. Indifference would be like, forget it, I'm not sitting here. Like, it's the opposite of indifference, to be sitting in a space, recognizing, aware of it. Hey, I am right here. Like, these are the things I am doing. You're like actually completely dialed in on it. Like, so take away all the judgment of it. We're not waiting. We're not trying to do anything else other than solve it. When we're experiencing resistance, then, there's always a reason, and we have to pay attention. And this part I just loved. If we try to force ourselves to perform in the face of resistance, it usually intensifies the feeling. I just so much love that that sentence. Because everything that I want to try to help people do, nothing is forced. Everything open, voluntary, thoughtful. The words I like to use, called to it. That kind of thing, you know? Forcing things, not a sustainable process. We're trying, I like the analogy of the river, right? We're trying to flow. Like, we are trying to cut through a mountain, right? That's what I say. Climb a mountain, cut through it, blast it up, step over it, whatever analogy you want. But like, look at the river, right? The river just flows. It doesn't fight it as much as it flows through it, wears it down with its persistence. And this is the experience. I think this is usually the wrong way to do it. Like I have said, we can bring intensity to things, right? But bringing intensity to something should fit within this framework. Let me finish it out. You'll see. I love how they finish this out. When we're forcing something, they say we're strengthening the internal conflict, and we can often trigger the fear that is holding us back in the first place. The thought that was coming to me as I was reading that, I think this is how people blow themselves up a lot, you know? How people get into a space, they reach a plateau space, and instead of doing what we are suggesting, being aware, open, thoughtful, finding the flow, using every tool, right? Like these sort of things, people just brute force and crank up the intensity through force, not through joy. Like the type of intensity I want people to bring is joy, which is like this is just flowing out. It feels so good. I'm like going to hit it so hard because I just love it. You know, I'm loving that I am doing this. This is the mindset that I want for people. Joyful and powerful, not powerful and burned out. This is like how our culture so much is, right? That's hustle culture. Like if you aren't really giving it your all unless you're sleeping at the office and you're just so tired and miserable, then you've really shown, you know, like how dedicated you are. Okay, not a path to health. Maybe it's a path to accomplish something for some person. You know, you decide. Not a path to mental health, wellness, feeling your best. They say instead, releasing resistance. Doesn't that sound like a nice thing to do? Okay, we've jammed into a ceiling. We're trying to figure it out. Do we think, okay, attack it? Maybe from the right mindset you could, but how much more thoughtful mindset? Just release it. Okay, refocus, release it. To do something like that, to say we got to get clear on what we want. Right? That's my top question. Remember, back in the fall, I said, what is the most important question in weight loss? So what do I really want? And why? Why do we want it? Like, I want to lose some weight, or I want something. Why though? Like, you got to get really down in there. We did the session the other day, remember, on identity. They say in here, we have to identify unconscious beliefs that are preventing us from showing up. What do I want? Why do I want it? What do I really believe about these situations? Like, powerful, deep questions. Then we step back into the work and the process when we feel inspired. Like, I want people to feel inspired. I want you, whatever you are doing in health, I want you to feel inspired, you know? That's a great word. Inspired to do it is the way you flow in the path of joyful, powerful movement and never forcing anything. Like, when you are not feeling inspired to do something, but you are like on a path to do it anyway, that's where you start getting into this space of forcing things. And like this says, I think that's true. It rarely works in the long term. Like, we can force ourselves to do things in the short term, but that is also a pathway toward resentment. That is a pathway toward burnout. Setting up a thing of always forcing it, basically, it like works until it doesn't, right? That's a process that works until it breaks. And we can be hanging on to it until one day. Do you ever experience that? It's like we're tightening the screw and we keep going. And then one day, it breaks, right? The process breaks. Melissa is here. Good morning. So good to see you. I hope you are well today. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, so this is the process that we want. I think, Melissa, you said you're reading the book. Have you dove in on it yet? I'm reading the end of this section on resolving resistance, page 33. Want to release it, refocus, and then, step back when we feel inspired. Like, I'm hearing Pat saying, like, maybe feeling a little inspiration, you know, like, hey, I'm pushing in this direction for a while. Like, we got some food. I know you're dialed in on food choices, right? And you're opening up a fasting space. You say, hey, here is like a flow. I'm feeling a little more inspired now. Head in this exercise direction. See, there's another skill, right? All these are skills. And you know, like the cliche sort of experience, you know, of weight loss, you picture someone just burning themselves out on a Stairmaster and, you know, some gym somewhere that they don't like. And it's like you're just trying to slog through it. Like, see, that can be miserable, like if you're not called to it. If you're not feeling inspired. I really like this. This is probably like a really good way to go in like all of life. Like, wouldn't this be the ideal way of being? Like, every day we're just doing the things that we feel inspired to do, you know? Like, so, I mean, as a broader, you know, this isn't a weight loss book. This is a very broad thing. It's like anything we want to do. It's like we want to feel inspired to do it. Taking that into the health space. Exceptionally powerful. Because, you know, I think, is this your experience? Like, some days we're floating, like, I just want to eat like the very best, like highest quality meal. Like, that's the focus. Well, that's a skill. That's nourishing to the body. Other days you might feel called more. Like, you know, I just really want to open up this space. Like, I feel it. I want to open up this fasting space. You say, if I'm going to feel hungry in that space, like, do you welcome it? That's the only way I'd want someone to fast, really, inspired to do it, welcoming the experience, right? I know this is my experience. I've done a lot of fasting, right? Sometimes I can feel intimidated. Like I say, I've been doing it for a decade plus. I say even still, I don't know that I'm up for that right now, I don't think I want to feel hungry like that. Well, nobody has to do it. I'm going to focus on eating the highest quality food that I can, okay? But sometimes I really do. And this would be part of the skill, right? Have you experienced that in the space where you're like, no, I really am open to it right now? This is an interesting perspective to have. This would be totally countercultural. This would sound totally wild to somebody who is not used to it. Say, no, I really want to feel hungry, This is not the type of thing you would normally say. But when you get into it, we say, I really want to open up this space in my body. I really want this body fat to be gone. I want to give the energy the opportunity to serve its purpose. I see the body's been storing it. I'm up for it. That's inspired, That's the time to lean into the fasting. And if you're not feeling that way, okay, lean into the healthy eating. Lean into getting some more exercise. Lean into a mental health practice and dig deep about everything that is going on. Here's how they end this section. Wanting is the entryway to showing up after resistance. Wanting. Love that. You have to want to do it, You have to want it. And so what are the things that you are wanting? What are the skills that you are wanting? We call this building weight loss skills. What skills do you want, Is fasting one of those skills? It's okay if it's not. No pressure, right? It's we have all these tools available to us, and we can flow between them anytime we want. I say build the one that you want the most, Build the one that you want the most in the way that you want to do it. And we take steps on this path, we take steps on this path, and we kind of keep building it out. Always taking a step. That's like the river. River's trying to flow this way. It's oh, kind of can't do it. And we find the unlock, right? Think of picking a lock. It's we got 6 steps and we got to get in there and trigger each one of these things, the shape, figure it out. This is kind of that's why I said clues to the weight loss puzzle. Every day is an opportunity. Take one step forward in health. This is what we're doing. Every step, every day, we're approaching it in the most thoughtful, gentle, and powerful way. That's what I want. That's what I want for all of us, approaching everything that we're trying to do in our life, whether it's health or anything else. Thoughtful, gentle, and powerful. Ask yourself, that's a great way to center the day between our 4 kind of big wellness practices. Maybe you you could have a theme for a week. You could have an idea of I'm going to really try to take a week and lean in this direction. Maybe this is exercise week for you, if you're feeling it. That's great. So, try to just keep everything else stable, It's we don't want to backslide on some other thing if we can help it. No rules. But it's if we start exercising a whole bunch, we wouldn't want to start eating a bunch of junk along with it, right? If we can lean into the exercise path and kind of keep some of the fasting things stable, perfect, that's going to amp it up. All these things can balance themselves out. Of course, the natural tendency, or an experience that some people can have, I've experienced both of these. You start exercising a lot more, you can be hungrier, right? It's the body's okay, need energy, can drive that. You have to have your own experience sometimes with it. Energy is being expended in exercise, but especially you're mixing it with a fasting space. Exercise is a way actually to burn through a hunger experience. You're feeling hungry. You say, I want to be opening up this fasting space, actually leaning into exercise. What an incredible distraction, We have had the experience that fasting is, hunger is primarily a hormonal experience. It's driven by hunger hormones. And those hormones going to last 60 to 90 minutes. And so you blast your way through a hunger experience by exercising. Like, holy cow, if you feel open to it. And then I've definitely experienced this. Have you experienced, you get done exercising, and it's like you're not hungry anymore. And it's like you can actually just flow through that space. You got a lot of the good energy flowing from the exercise. That can be a way to really loop through a space like that. Bring everything together. Here is a question. The fasting, non-fasting windows are working for me. I'm going on Zepbound and starting to weightlift. Awesome. I still see the value of fasting even with those other tweaks, concerns. No, everything flows together. This is fantastic. It's totally fantastic. Like, so what is a GLP-1? You know, what is it? Synthetic peptide hormone, okay? Getting into that space, like we were saying, hunger is hormonal. We're getting into that system with a medication like that, helping to turn down the hunger experience. And so I look at a GLP-1 as a substance to help you practice fasting. Like, it's what I do in my clinic. I've described it that way. Help people say, okay, a GLP-1 does not burn any calories. It is not, there's no magic to it. Okay, it's just physiology. It's just amplifying the physiology of the body. And so by getting into that hormonal space, say, does it help you to eat less in general? Okay, the standard framework that diet, medical culture will take to a GLP-1 is to say, this is just going to globally help you eat less, and then that can help you lose weight. And it absolutely can. Absolutely, it does do that. The way I would tweak it would be to say, and to amp up the power of it, is just to think of it as, can this help you to feel more comfortable and open up more fasting space? Because then we're really aligning the calorie deficit with a huge open space, helps the insulin to drop to help all the hormones to align so that we can really extract the energy from the reserves in that space. So someone who eats the exact same meals with or without Zepbound or any other GLP-1 going to have the same weight loss experience. That's the thing. But say, can you do it? Okay. So I look at it as like training wheels, Like, here is something that's like training wheels. Helps you to do the process. And because, okay, things that are sustainable in the long term, people like to eat satisfying, healthy meals. And so it's like, you'll feel less hungry in general on a GLP-1. Maybe you flow through a fasting space more easily. Maybe still at those meals, maybe you don't feel like eating as much. Totally fine. Never force yourself to eat more than you want, okay? Eating smaller meals, if you feel like it. Like, I always tell people, like, okay, you're doing fasting, you've already done the hard work by opening up this big space. Then when you're eating, like, you can have a nice, healthy, satisfying meal. But if you're satisfied with less, it's not like you have to force yourself to eat more than you want. And I especially love that you're adding weight training with it, all right? If you read about GLP-1s, of course, many potential side effects. I try to help people use as little medications as possible as my overriding philosophy, because there can be side effects to these things. One side effect people has observed, say, do people experience muscle loss using a GLP-1? I really do not believe that there is a direct, muscle killing effect of these things. I think what people are experiencing, they're just eating a lot less. Maybe they are not getting the protein they need. Maybe they are not training the muscles. We want to create a hormonal environment that supports our muscles. Like we said, we want to be lean and strong, right? If we're lean and weak, we say it doesn't really like that so much. So no matter whether you're taking a GLP-1 or not, whether you're fasting or just doing some regular dieting, having some resistance exercise of some kind doesn't have to mean you need a trainer, doesn't have to be super in the gym, can just be home body weight exercise, like doing body weight squats, sitting down in a chair and standing up and doing some reps of that. You're going to be training the musculature in that system. Doing some form of a push-up can be just like, against a table, doesn't have to be all the way down. Do on the knees, something just to be working those muscles, sending that's a way to combat that. So make sure, like when you're eating, you're getting good protein, you're getting some exercise, sending those signals to the muscle, keep it strong. When you are exercising, of course, you're burning up more energy. And so all these things can flow together. And I do say, I personally say training wheels instead of crutch. I always say it that way. Crutch is perfectly fine to say, but like if we just think about the connotation of it, crutch implying, oh, you broke your leg and you need a crutch, like it's just saying like, oh, there's some problem here. Like I would try to do as much to take down the intensity of language like that as possible. There's not really a problem here. There's, there's just certain things are happening in the reality and we're just, working on it. Training wheels to me brings in so much more positive energy and fun things. Like we're just learning a skill. This is the thing that we are doing here. You think riding the bike? I think of some happy kid on a bike trying to learn how to ride a bike. Training wheels help them, keep them safe, help them like get the idea. And training wheels really fits like this with, like you're saying, the goal ultimately to minimize the medication in the long term. This is the idea. Like you're teaching a kid to ride a bike. The idea isn't that you're going to keep the training wheels on forever. You're practicing the routines and habits that work. The fact that a GLP-1 works, I just tell people, like it just shows you that dietary processes do work, because it's not a magic, process. It's just helping you to eat less. And so it just shows you if you develop the skills of doing it, you don't need the medicine to do it in the long term. You can have all the efficacy of it in the long term, okay, but help to do it. That's why training wheels so nice as an analogy. Very positive, and then it's setting it up as like we're just, ready to ride, ready to fly. The thinking in the medical system, like you talk to, I think most weight loss providers about GLP-1s will say, oh, this is like a lifelong medication. People talk that way. That's not the way I talk about it. I'd like to talk about it as training wheels. Like if it can help you to do it and setting you up for this success, I'll just tell you, you can get off it in the long term. And that is the way you maximize the value from it, If you say, because the medicine is expensive, there can be some risk to it. And so you say, if this is a training program and it's really getting me in a groove, it's helping the weight come down, it's showing me a process, oh, I can flow through this space. And then if you're able to maintain that and teach yourself how to do it, and set up the environment for success afterwards, you can get huge value from that. Absolutely you can. I always like to point out in this type of space, I want to get a video. I want to do a GLP-1 focused video. I have so many thoughts about it. But one of the things, okay, GLP-1 is naturally occurring in the body. It doesn't just come from synthetic forms of it. And I've reviewed some papers on the channel in the past. What we eat determines it. The healthier the food we are eating gives us more GLP-1 naturally. Our microbiome, are we taking care of the microbiome, helps determine so much of this. And so adding in, some fermented food sources, kimchi, sauerkraut, kombucha, yogurts, things that help, are we taking care of that? Can help naturally. Fasting is flowing into that space. Study I've reviewed in the past that the microbiome is so supported in a fasting space, actually. So when we think about the natural factors that affect our GLP-1 levels, our satiety, how, ultimately what we're trying to do, find a space of comfort, right? This is the key for the long term. Finding a space of comfort, another way I say it, is peace and contentment. Hard to feel peace and contentment if we're feeling a level of hunger and dis-ease in the body that we aren't called to, experience. So that can feel very unpleasant. So interesting, right? It can feel good in a moment when we have the mind to do it, when that's the joyful path. But when it's like the path that we don't like, very hard to stick with it. So we're trying to build the environment in our body, in our life, which is our way of being, flowing through a space as comfortable as possible, doing all these skills, right? Every skill that we have said as we build it are the things that actually support natural GLP-1 in the body. We want to do that, So that would be the way to transition if it's possible to do it, at some point. Not stuck. I don't want people to feel stuck. And I know people, people who have tried these, the way it's sold. I mean, I don't watch too much TV. I've watched some football games. Every other commercial was for a GLP-1. And it's like, the marketing is huge, and it's kind of, I would just say, I've written, I couldn't tell you, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of GLP-1 prescriptions. I managed people on GLP-1s at the very beginning of my medical practice, 2012, just for diabetes. They weren't being used for weight then. But, so since 2012, I've been working with people on GLP-1s. And the thing that is really misunderstood in the broad marketing is how many people have side effects from them and can't take them, from abdominal pain and nausea, most commonly, all kinds of digestive problems. And, we've kind of created a culture in medicine in which weight loss is pharmaceutical. And so I'm not opposed to it, If something helps someone, of course, I only want people to be helped. But what I really I want to be able to connect with people who have tried to take a GLP-1 and haven't been able to tolerate it, and to tell you, there is hope, okay? There are pathways available to you. And so anybody who is using it and wants to use it, of course, do it. And if that helps, that's fine. But I especially want to help people, because there's so many people who feel like, oh, if I can't take this, it's hopeless. I can't do it, People who have thyroid cancer risk and stuff like this, I just want to tell you, because a lot of people have a lot of thyroid problems, right? We get into this hormonal space, and then hypothyroidism cause weight gain, and then people nervous about a GLP-1. And I just want to tell people, look, natural paths available. Thoughtfully, gently lean into all these things, and you can go. I like that. Start very low. Yep. Compounding pharmacy, all that stuff is a absolutely fine thing to do, in my opinion. Work with a thoughtful provider who has experience, manage it. But the big takeaway, not incompatible in any way, hyper compatible. It's the perfect thing to do. I've seen, I watch YouTube sometimes, different, doctors giving their perspectives. I see people giving perspectives, say, don't fast when you're on a GLP-1. I saw a guy talking like that. This is not based on studies. People have not done, there's no studies that suggest this is bad. Someone counter-sales is not like people have done studies that suggest it's good either. I'm saying, but so we're just operating in this, space of openness, space where we can just think, actually, and say, let's look at the physiology. Let's look at what's happening here. GLP-1 hormone helping us to feel less hungry, so we eat less. Fasting, a perfectly physiologic and good thing to do for the body. I've had people doing that combination for years and years, to great effect. So I am very very in favor of it. The same question. I think I was going to do a show on it. Maybe I'd do it again. But we were talking about it the other week, just last week. This argument or discussion, whatever you would call it, in like fasting medical circles, say fasting only works because it helps you eat less calories. GLP-1 certainly come into this thing. The implication being, if just eating less calories helps us lose weight, why would we go to the trouble of practicing fasting anyway? As like, you know, from the societal cultural perspective, you can see it. People say, well, that fasting sounds unpleasant, okay? Fasting seems like something difficult. Why would I do it? We say, especially like you say, the goal is like comfort. The part that people are missing in that discussion is that it's not exactly easy for people to eat less and to be comfortable and just to be chronically calorie reduced. Fasting actually one of the most comfortable ways to do it. Most people say to actually just open up this space and say just float through a space for a while, not feeling hungry, just doing my work is like the lowest hanging fruit, right? You say we're trying to reduce the total number of calories we're eating in a day. If you can flow through a space eating nothing and be comfortable in that space and realize, hey, it's like the body's just using the energy within it. I never tell people fasting is easy, but if you're experiencing something like that, then that would basically by definition be easy. And that's what I want for people. I want people to not be intimidated by the fact that it could be difficult. Realize it is a skill. This is the main skill I want people to build. Take the lowest hanging fruit, you know? Make it as easy as possible. If fasting is the path that makes it easy as possible, then do it. You know what I mean? Like, don't dismiss it when it could be the very easiest path. If it's not the easiest path, like we said in this session, don't force it, for goodness sake, you know? Not going to be sustainable. Flow where the energy is going, you know? Okay, thank you for sharing that question. Share all questions anyone ever has. I love to answer every question. I sit here for, and I would, if people keep asking questions, I would yap on and on and on. Yeah, very good. So good discussion to think about. Appreciate that. Perhaps I will leave it at that for today. We will do some good thinking on this, building the skills on our different health practices, especially centering our mind. Where does that fasting skill fitting for me today and then in the week? And then which direction do I want to flow with it? Maybe it's dialing in some exercise in a bolder way and like turning up the heat on that. Thank you so much for being here. We'll be back tomorrow. Look forward to chatting with you again soon. Have a great day, everybody.